fucking thing on. Ladies and gentlemen, he's wacky, he's zany, he's one entire sixth of the greatest comedy team the world has ever seen. Here to reveal all, please welcome Monty Python's Graham Chapman!
Before I begin, there is a favor I would like to ask of all of you, please, and I do mean every single person in the room. No opting out. I'd like everyone to join in with this, please. I would like to ask you all for 30 seconds of abuse. One. Thank you.
You suck, maggot. You miscreant.
I like you.
Thank you very much indeed. That was excellent abuse. And it will certainly save a lot of time later on.
New York, 1976. The City Center Theatre. Monty Python's Flying Circus is appearing. We are in mid-sketch. I am playing Oscar Wilde.
My congratulations, Wilde. Your play is a great success. The whole of London is talking about you.
There is only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about.
Very witty, Wilde. Very witty.
There is only one thing worse in the world than being witty, and that is not being witty.
I wish I had said that.
You will, Oscar. You will.
Your Highness, do you know James McNeill Whistler?
Yes, we play squash together.
There is only one thing worse than playing squash together, and that is playing it by yourself.
He waits expectantly for the roars of laughter and the shrieks of glee. They do not come. The silence grows longer.
I wish I hadn't said that.
You did, Oscar. You did.
You must forgive me, Wilde, but I must get back up the palace.
Wilde is desperate. It's unheard of. The Prince of Wales leaving with a smile on his face that had not been put there by Oscar Wilde. He blurts,
Your Majesty, you are like a big jam donut with cream on top.
I beg your pardon?
It was one of Whistler's.
I didn't say that.
You did, James, you did.
I meant that, like a donut, your arrival, Your Majesty, gives us pleasure, and your departure only makes us hungry for more. Your Majesty is like a stream of bat's piss.
I beg your pardon?
It was one of Wilde's. One of Wilde's.
I have just dried. I cannot remember the next line.
I'm waiting, Wilde. I'm waiting.
The entire theatre waits. And as they wait, so do I for that damned line to enter my head. It refuses to come.
Oh, get on with it.
Get on with it!
Dr. Chapman, we'll be landing in Los Angeles shortly. Hello? Dr. Chapman? Are you all right, Dr. Chapman?
Please keep your seatbelts fastened and all your luggage stowed safely. And turn off your headsets and electrical equipment. until you see the seatbelt sign turned on.
It's at moments like this when one thinks, oh, fuck it, does it really matter? What are we all here for? Are we predestined to take the path we follow? I was born in Leamington, now officially known as Royal Leamington Spa, moderately famous for the manufacture of gas cookers. The year was 1942, and the period of gestation ended on the 7th of February during a rather botched-up air raid in which the Germans thought they were hitting Coventry. My parents, Tim and Betty, were outraged when I arrived because they'd been expecting a heterosexual black Jew with several rather amusing birth deformities as they needed the problems. They lived in an enormous Gothic castle in the south of France called Done Drinking Gin and Slimline Tonic with Ice but No Lemon in, which was originally built by Marco Polo for himself and a few friends he wanted to invite round to his place after the pub closed. I must admit, so far, that this has not had much more than a grain of truth in it, but it is more interesting than all the usual humdrum wetting of nappies and later pants and not being allowed to sit next to Lottie, the Czechoslovakian girl, because I once shat myself, seeing bits of people hanging from trees. Oh, that does sound interesting. Perhaps I should put that down. I was 3 at the time, and my mother wanted to take me along to see my father.
Walter? Sorry, dear, I'm busy. Hey, you! That sack's already got 2 legs in it.
Walter, dear, we were just out shopping, and I thought that Graham might like...
Look, dear, can't you come back later? Has anyone found that head yet? Hey, has anyone in this street found a head? Oh, come on, someone must have it. I know this street, you'd steal anything. I mean, what the bloody hell are you going to do with a head?
Well, dear, perhaps we'll go and get your tea.
What? Oh, yes, egg on toast, please. Left arm here. Anyone missing a left arm?
We haven't got any eggs. There is a war on.
Ask Harold. Something bound to have fallen off the back of a lorry.
All right, dear. Come on, Graham, stop staring at all that blood. It won't do you any good.
Oh, come on, Mum. This must be one of my major formative experiences. Eton. Summer term, or WOPS as we call it, seemed to have dragged on endlessly. The smell of freshly mown grass wafted over from far-off Hayes Meadow. The village clock chimed in the distance, and somewhere, miles above our petty earth, a wisp of cloud took flame from the dying embers of the setting sun. They combined to produce an atmosphere so redolent of this type of writing. Jam Victoria tam facilis scrotum non valet. We always beat Harrow anyway. Why bother?
Oh, a Chapman, sir. May I clean your teeth tonight? Oh, please.
Why don't you bugger off, Shagspot?
Oh! Thank you, sir.
Plucky little squid, that young Macmillan. Should go far. In a few days, I would be in Nice, soaking up the sun at the side of my father's pool, while Jenkins hovered by with a tray of vodkatinis.
Would you like another sandwich, dear?
What?
They're your favorite sandwich spread.
So this is Nice?
What do you mean, Nice? This is Scarborough. You do too much reading.
It'll do you more good if you eat your tea.
Quite right. You can't get through to him when he's got a book in his hand. What is it, anyway?
It's called Claudius the God by Robert Graves, a fine historical reconstruction of the life of Claudius, the Republican Roman Emperor, thought of in his time as a pitiful fool, though the reign Mr. Graves describes is far from folly.
Is it?
Anyway, finish your tea. We ought to go and get the haddock for Mrs. Richards.
There's plenty of time for that later on. Thraxter's doesn't close till 5.
But they're bound to be out of haddock by then.
We'll get halibut.
Mrs. Richards especially asked for the haddock.
Oh, haddock, halibut, cod. There's no difference. It's all fish. Let's just sit here for a bit and enjoy the view.
It's raining.
It's bracing. You should have your window open, lad. Get a bit of ozone in your lungs.
Ozone is oxygen in a condensed state having 3 atoms to the molecule O3. What you can smell is rotting seaweed.
Well, it's good for you.
No, it isn't.
Don't argue with your father.
There's those fancy books he's been reading. You can't learn everything out of books, my lad.
There's no argument, it's a fact.
Stop it, Graham. No, come on. We'll go and get the fish.
No, we won't. We'll stay here.
I think we should go and get the fish.
That ship over there is bringing wood from Norway. Coniferous wood. Used in the paper manufacturing industry since the late 15th century. But the first paper mill in England was owned by John Tate in Hertford. The manufacture of continuous length, however,
Oh,
was...
the Tates. Wasn't their youngest walking about with that Barry Maskell?
No. This process was developed by the stationers, Messrs. H&S Fordrinier.
It was her, you remember? She was the one that got all the spots at Secretarial College.
Quiet, Edith. The Fordriniers were assisted in this by Mr. Brian Donkin, an inventor and engineer.
Donkin, wasn't his step-uncle, Stephanie, a wholesale poulterer in Peatling Parva?
No!
Yes, he was. It was their youngest that moved downstairs next door to the chemist in Wimbledon, nearly opposite the Gantlets.
Shut up! Do you realise that if you look out there on a very clear day, you can't quite see Denmark?
I think we should get the haddock.
Will you shut up about the bloody haddock?
Why is it that every bloody year...
Language?
Every year, our summer holiday consists of 2 weeks in Scarborough, Filey or Bridlington, sitting in a car in the rain, bickering. Why don't we go to bloody Denmark?
Language!
We did promise haddock.
Oh, all right. We'll go and get your bloody, flaming bloody haddock. Trouble with you two is you don't appreciate the beauties of nature. What's that you've got back there?
It's a book.
What book?
I, Biggles by Captain W.E. Graves.
Captain, eh? That sounds better.
Down my May West, old tape it. Well, if that's an order, old Guillemot, it is. Radio, here it comes, old bison. Don't stop now. I'm nearly there.
Oh, sir, mine.
What about me? Oh, fuck off, Ginger.
It's a heck of a lot of them. I'll just jolly well sit down here and improve the bally old mind a little, don't you know? The complete works of Captain W.E. Johns, How to Speak English in Other Languages, The Interpretation of Dreams by Sigmund Freud.
In the following lecture, I, Sigmund Freud, shall prove the entire psychology of man can only be understood with the reference to the science of navigation.
Spot on.
In relation to this, I remember a young adolescent who was having reoccurring dreams about flying. A fictional aviator called Bigglesworth and his companions are attempting to escape from a fucker wolf which is pursuing them and shooting at them. A typical dream recall of a particularly exciting episode of an adventure story for boys. Or so it would seem. Let's look at the dream more closely. The first thing we notice is that throughout the scene, we see navigational elements hidden not so far below the surface. A compass indicating the plane's direction of travel. A map behind the aviators telling them where they are going. All unmistakable symptoms of a navigational obsession. Note also the use of zoological terminology in their navigational exchange with one another. Old bison, old tapir, and even old guillemot clearly indicates the yearning for a pre-rational animal state of existence in which navigation is not yet distinguishable from simply running around. The boy patient clearly identifies himself with the minor character, Ginger, who is excluded from the adventure because he is navigationally inadequate.
Ginger? That's me. Inadequate? What a bally awful tone, don't you know what, ho old chap?
You've been bloody reading again.
I haven't.
Well, what's this in my hand?
Oh, it's The Interpretation of Dreams by Sigmund Freud, probably his most original work, in which he discovered a way of exploring the unconscious and found that neurotic symptoms are like dreams in that they are a product of conflict and compromise between the conscious and unconscious states. He was able to...
Is it? What's this? Sucking at the mother's breast is the starting point for the whole sexual life? The unmatched prototype of every later sexual satisfaction.
I've got the haddock. Now, what were you saying? Another book, dear. What is it this time?
Nothing. Just a road map.
Who's Frood, then?
He's an expert on navigation. Very interesting. His theories of navigation, you see, longitude and latitude, that sort of thing.
Ah, well, that's enough of that. Let's get back to Mrs. Richards with this haddock.
Right.
Quite a lot happened over the next few years. A disastrous sexual experiment with Rita Blake. My first love affair with another boy. Stuffing snails into a gatepost with a net boy. The hen-stealing nuns. Pig-shit Freeman. Miss Chamberlain's 3 consecutive head girls pregnant. My questions about ejaculation to a biology master. Albert the groundsman. Me holding hands with Mark Collins in a math class, painting John Wilder black, Bruno's Eskimo Nell, Monsieur le Beau Rapu, and elderly spinsters wanking off birthday cakes. But such trivia needs no elaboration. One childhood is much like another. Amateur psychologists who think it clever to explain the character of the later man for a jumble of largely fictitious memories can ferret for their filth in other people's autobiographies. In the spring of 1960 Splunge, John Cleese and Graham Chapman thought they might like to do another television program. In another part of London, Michael Palin, Terry Jones, and Eric Idle, and an American draft dodger, and who can blame him, called Terry Vance Gilliam, thought they would too. Me. I still like owl stretching time. Of course, it was my idea. Terry Jones. And lots of noises only the Welsh can make. I still like a horse, a bucket, and a spoon, his suggestion. J. Cleese. Look, you Welsh git, we discarded that about 2 hours ago. Oh, fucking hell! I remember not being particularly interested in the debate about titles. Had I given up medicine for trivia such as this? Aren't we able to talk about things? Yes, but do we have to go on and on about it in such a high-pitched voice? John Cleese guffaws like a barrister having made his point. This winds Terry Jones up to near violence. Of course I go on about it! It's fucking important! Terry, would you or would you not say that the rest of us have already agreed that we don't like it? Characteristic of his temperament, T. Jones calms down instantly, having vented his spleen on inanimate objects. I still like owl stretching time. M. Palin.
No, I've gone off that a bit. I prefer sex and violence. But I do think Terry's got a point about a horse, a bucket, and a spoon. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Graham, you're doing all the voices in this bit, aren't you? I'll shut up.
M. Palin. No, I've gone off that a bit. I prefer sex and violence. But I do think Terry's got a point about a horse, a bucket, and a spoon. Oh, come off it. And so it was decided to call it Monty Python's Flying Circus. Cambridge, a university town built in a featureless, flat landscape. So featureless and flat, you wonder why anyone chose it as a location for anything. The magnificence of St. John's, the noteworthy splendor of Trinity, the sheer pauntliness of the backs, and some very high walls behind which a semi-aristocratic elite could hide from the outside world and go to each other's rooms for sherry. And gazing at the magnificent, noteworthy, sheer splendor of the Portly King's College Chapel, it would be a world-weary traveller indeed who did not pause to think, why the fuck didn't they build the whole town 2 inches to the right?
Sorry. Stop! Everybody stop! Right! If I find any more of you bloody idiots heating up ether over an open flame, I'll kill you. I haven't been a munitions expert in 2 world wars to get slaughtered by a load of ignorant tits. If you don't know what you're doing, get out. So, Chapman,
Yes.
let's see. Oh, now, do you play rugby?
I play for Melton Mowbray Rugby Football Club, first team,
What position do you play?
second row.
That's good. We need a second row.
Absolutely. We'll see you in September.
There is just one small matter, of course. What? Just a formality. Your A-level results. You're taking 3 A-levels.
Ah. Oh, yes.
Will you pass physics?
No.
Why not?
Well, I'm not sure.
Not sure, eh? That means you're in doubt?
Well, no.
Do you mean yes?
Yes.
So, a pass may be possible, eh?
Yes, possible.
Probable, even.
Well,
Let me put it another way. Are you going to fail?
No.
How did it go?
Oh, fine. Mind you, I've got to pass physics.
Well, you'll do that, won't you?
I think at about this juncture, it'd be wise to point out to those of you who haven't noticed, and God knows it's apparent enough, Jonathan Miller and myself come from good families and have had the benefits of a public school education, whereas the other two members of the cast have worked their way up from working class origins. And yet Jonathan and I are working together with them in the cast and treating them as equals. And I'd like to say it's proving to be a most enjoyable, worthwhile and stimulating experience for both of us. Wouldn't you agree, Jonathan? Certainly, and I'm most impressed by the whole thing.
It's your results.
Ah.
What does it say?
It says...
3 passes. Oh, that means you win, doesn't it?
Well done, Graham.
I had been accepted by Emmanuel College. I'd bought a gown, several club ties, walked around in a tweed suit with a pipe and tried to look clever. The pipe was very useful because it meant that if anyone said anything I didn't understand, I could puff on it and seem incredibly deep in thought. The tweed suit didn't fool anybody, but the pipe worked a treat. In tutorials, I was asked fewer questions. It also helped clobber the stench of formalin in the dissecting rooms.
Describe the vagina. Heaven.
Right. Well, it's a sensitive organ.
What do you mean?
Well, it's about 4.5 inches long, and it's very sensitive.
Balls! The only thing sensitive about the vagina is in the front of it, lad. Apart from a certain sensation because something has passed through the perineal musculature, the vagina itself is virtually numb. Your answer shows not only a lack of anatomical knowledge, but a complete social ignorance. You've obviously never slept with a woman! Oh! Oh! Not that bit.
I'm awfully sorry, old chap, but sex is a rather difficult subject, and I don't know what came over me. Oh, well, better go and have lunch, I suppose. Anyone coming to the bun shop?
Oh, thank God. That was a short tutorial.
In my first year at Cambridge, I tried to join the Footlights Club, realizing that the only reason I'd gone there in the first place was that I'd seen a television version of a Footlights annual review. I impersonated a carrot and a man with iron fingertips being pulled off stage by an enormous magnet.
Really super.
In the same set of auditions, John Cleese did a routine of trampling on hamsters and can still do a good pain-ridden squeak.
How about that?
We were both selected, and very soon we were able to wear black taffeta sashes with Ars est celere artem on them. The art is to conceal the art. March 1964. The new biochemistry and physiology block was being opened by Her Majesty the Queen Mother. At the time, being secretary of the Students' Union, I was invited to join Her Majesty for tea with other representatives of the student body after her tour of the new premises. I was very pleased to find out that she had asked to come to tea with the students and not with a lot of old gits in red gowns and stupid floppy hats.
Oh, yes. How do you take yours?
Gin and slimline tonic with ice but no lemon in, Your Majesty.
Cheers.
During tea, I explained to Her Majesty that I had the offer of going to New Zealand as a member of the cast of Cambridge Circus, a review, but that this would mean taking 6 months off medicine, and my parents had yelped strongly against this.
You really must see New Zealand. It's a very beautiful place.
My sexual life consisted of going to bed with women while dreaming about men. The first one was the student's traditional friend, a nurse. She was rather podgy and extremely repellent, but I just wanted to get my end away. She was a real lie down and think of hockey in England type, and after a brief grope that was not enthusiastically received, I looked her hard in the breasts and thought, yuck, the bar's still open, I'll get rid of her. There was another female student. She was getting a lot of attention from the lads, but of a rather fawning, not daring to ask nature. I sat down at her table. Ignoring her minions, I boldly passed her a plate of spread sandwiches and asked her if she'd go. She was intelligent enough to say, "See you in my room tonight." We had a bloody good time for a whole year. She was athletic and imaginative. We went right through the card. It wasn't just British missionary, but doggy on the floor standing, on the desk, in the shower, in the bar, near the bar, at someone else's place while they weren't looking, and in a guard's van through the whole of Birmingham. The description of this passage has made me feel... excuse me. That's better. I liked the experience, but after about 9 months or so, it began to pall, and I felt I would rather spend more time in the bar drinking with the lads. This is hardly even partly true in retrospect. It's just that I definitely do remember, once or twice, thoughts of men's bodies creeping into my mind while in coitus. I decided that I should do some clinical tests on myself. So whenever I went in a taxicab, tube, train or bus, I looked at each passerby and tried to tell myself honestly which ones I would like to go to bed with. And the ratio of boys to girls was something like 7-3, which puts me clearly on the homosexual side of the scale as suggested in the Kinsey report.
Look, he says he's on tour with something called Cambridge Circus, a review. The Queen Mother told him, you know, and as Her Majesty was telling Graham, New Zealand is such a beautiful place. She said he really had to go and see it. It's by royal command, really.
A trip to New Zealand and America made me a little more broad-minded about myself, and immediately after qualifying I gave up medicine and became a raging poof. But no mincing, a butch one with a pipe.
Graham, taxis here for the BBC.
Thank you very much indeed. Tonight, class. Some people say it's disappearing, but if modern advertising is the mirror of the world...
Action!
Come in. Ah, come in, Thompson. Nice to see you. Time here, little chap. Good. Don't sit on the floor, Thompson. Sit on the chair. Good. Well, how are you, Thompson? Fine, sir. Good. Splendid. You look well. I was talking this morning to Mr. Evans, Eggy, about your Latin verse. A bit shaky. Prose is all right, but verse is weak. Yes, sir. You've got to do something about it, you know. It's very important. Yes, sir. Thompson, have you been shot? Yes, sir. Just a bit. Well, who shot you, a master or a boy? A boy, sir. Very good.
Hi guys, hello, super show tonight, super. Look, I can't stop, got a flight to catch. I was thinking you boys ought to write a film script. It'll be super, absolutely super. I'm sending you off to Spain to write the script. It'll be great fun. Anyway, I gotta go. They're calling my flight. Bye, super. Well, now we're here, the first thing we should do is examine all the beaches to find out which will be the best place to write a film set in London. Well, usually takes me about 2 weeks to get acclimatized, and I still haven't thrown off this throat.
It is rather hot, isn't it? I'm feeling a bit groggy myself. Perhaps a couple of weeks' rest might be a good idea.
But do you think we should? I mean, David Frost and all that, he has paid us, Grail.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Yes, well, I'll probably be all right tomorrow. Yes, right, that's fine then. Yes, we'll start tomorrow. First thing in the morning.
Right, yes, fine then.
I'll sit in the shade with the typewriter and you can sit out on the balcony in the sun, sunning yourself and shout a few lines in, right?
Fine, great.
Oh, bugger. Great, you mind if we don't start till the evening, actually? I promised I'd take Connie to Calabasas tomorrow, and she's only got a few more days here. A bit awkward to get out of it now, you know? Damn.
Oh, that's fine by me. We have done the synopsis of the film. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking a bit of time off.
So we'll start on Friday, yes?
Yes, right.
Be a bit noisy, but we can shut ourselves away.
Noisy?
Well, there's the fiesta this weekend. Lots of dancing, fireworks, wine, and that sort of thing.
Oh, I've never been to Spain before.
Haven't you? Oh, well, you must then. You must go to the fiesta. So, let's have a think. That brings us to Monday. We'll start on Monday. No, but Monday and Tuesday are Connie's last 2 days, and I'd like to see her off at the airport on Wednesday. So, let's start Thursday.
Look, why don't we make it 2 weeks?
Done. Oh. I say. Let's look at that.
I spent the next 2 weeks searching for something that I knew was probably very sexy.
super, really super. I look forward to reading more than 10 pages. Oh, gotta fly. Bye.
Bring, bring. Bring, bring.
Hello?
Who's that?
Oh, it was one of the painters.
It sounded like
What?
one of the painters I've spoken to before.
Well, yes, it probably did a bit.
It's a bit late for a painter, isn't it?
No, you just don't understand London, Mother. This is not like Leicester. For a whole year, I'd lived in terror, an almost Thorpian terror of being found out for what I was. A poof. Fuck it, I thought. Why go through all this agony? I decided that I would invite my closest friends to a party to meet David and explain to them all that I was a bit bent. This was a coming out party.
No, Gray, you don't understand. I'm just very surprised, because ever since I've known you, you played rugby a lot, you drank a lot of beer, you smoked a pipe, you wore a tweed suit and brogues, and this is not a standard gay profile.
Yes. The other extraordinary action was from Keith Moon, who was quite stunned. Obviously, he was quite young then, but I had to explain to him what it all meant, that I actually did go to bed with people of the same sex, and that it was quite fun, and we actually loved each other. It wasn't at all naughty.
Trouble at the mill.
Oh, no.
What
What sort of trouble?
One on crossbeam's gone out askew on treadle.
Pardon?
One on crossbeam's gone out askew on treadle.
I don't understand what you're saying.
One of the crossbeams has gone out askew on the treadle.
What on earth does that mean?
I don't know. Mr. Wentworth just told me to come in here and say that there was trouble at the mill, that's all. I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition.
Suddenly, I feel like digressing for another moment about morality. I intend to publish here for the first time what I believe to be a missing portion of the New Testament. The papyrus manuscript translated here from the original Greek was discovered in 1979 by the author at Auckland Airport. He was there, in transit to Sydney, Australia, whiling away a few moments when the manuscript was given to him by a Maori chieftain toilet attendant. The first epistle of Paul the Apostle to the New Zealanders, AD 59, chapter 1, in which Paul castigateth the Antipodeans, empty showing of holiness, of fornicators and abusers of mankind, of poverty and tolerance, exhorteth them to beware of false prophets. Dear New Zealanders, what is all this nonsense about certain of your number kneeling down in front of crosses? That is naughty in the extreme. You've changed the glory of an incorruptible God into an image. I understand that the very same people collect together in churches for the purpose of worship. Who needs it? God doesn't. I've asked him. He's fed up with it, especially the Psalms. They give him a headache and cause his teeth to strike together. Don't they realize their praise is meaningless? Why can't they concentrate on being better behaved towards one another and forget about this empty show of holiness? He says, though don't quote me on this, they can stuff it up their arses. He said that, not I. I, a mere mortal, would not have put it quite like that. I'm afraid I think too much about my earthly reputation. But I cannot help agreeing with him. About fornicators, adulterers, effeminates, and abusers of mankind. I'm constantly being misquoted on this point. I would like to state quite clearly that sex is nothing more than a way in which two or more people can have lots of harmless, cheap fun, provided that they are clean and that the aim is not reproduction. The betterment of the lot of mankind is impossible without strict limits on reproduction, so don't make the mistake the rest of the world has made and overpopulate yourselves. Not everyone has to have children for Christ's sake. He didn't have any, and I should know. If you really feel you have to have children, then make sure that as parents you have no more than you could properly look after. I exhort you to be empathetic, be splendid, be aware of your own ignorance. And as always, beware of those who claim to lead you to better self-knowledge by taking your money. Must finish now, as I have to catch the post. Lots of love, P. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Mr. Chapman, 2 minutes to act 2, Mr. Chapman.
Full of gin and the feeling of superiority over mortals which commonly afflicts the adulated, I had reached my zenith in a naughty and to this day illegal act upon the floor of an empty dressing room.
Sit on my face and tell me that you love me. I'll sit on your face and tell you I love you. I love to hear you oralize when I'm between your thighs. You blow me away. Sit on my face and let my lips embrace you. I'll sit on your face and then I'll love you truly. Life can be fine if we both 69. If we sit on our faces in all sorts of places and play till we're blown away.
What kind of a fellow is Monty Python, by the way?
He's black.
Black
And he's homosexual. That's about all we can say about him, really. He's a pretty easy person to sum up.
Good grief, there's no one to go to bed with. Where are all the young men around here? This is absolutely dreadful.
Ta-da!
Oh, all right.
Sit on my face and tell me that you love me.
Did you try
I'll sit on
to
your
keep the
face and
noise
tell
down?
you I love you too. I
Knock
love
it off.
to hear you all the lies between your thighs. You blow me away.
Keep quiet!
Sit on my face, my boy. Sit on my face, baby. Sit on my face in all sorts of places, yeah.
What's it like being a film star?
I'm not. Just an extra.
You're just an extra?
Yes.
Oh.
It's the crown and this that probably
Yeah, I was looking
makes
for
you
Graham Fink.
Ah, yes, he's around somewhere.
Is he?
Sit on my face and tell me that you love me. I'll sit on your face and tell you I love you too. I love to hear you oralize when I'm between your thighs. You blow me away. Sit on my face and let my lips embrace you. I'll sit on your face and then I'll love you truly. Life can be fine if we both 69. If we sit on our faces in all sorts of places and play till we're blown away.
Good afternoon. Beverly Hills Hotel reception.
Los Angeles.
Aren't you that guy? I'm so thrilled to meet you. I love your Monty Python.
Shall we go up to my room?
Sure. Oh, there. You enjoying that? Oh, yeah. Do you feel that? I feel that. Let's just get right in there. Bye, Graham. Oh, and do say hello to Monty for me. Tell him I'm his biggest fan.
That was fun. Zoom.
Excuse me. Is there a telephone around here I can use?
Sure, use the one in my room.
But it's my mother who needs to use the phone.
Well, bring her up too. I don't mind if it's a local call.
Come on, no.
Do that to me. Ooh.
If it's an order, old Guillemot.
Ooh, big boy. Touch me here. Oh my God. Do it to me there.
Right hand, here it comes.
Right there. Oh my God. Yes. Oh, do that to me. Ooh, big boy. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Yes. Oh my God. You, in fact, were more
than drunk on one occasion. You were, in fact, an alcoholic, were you?
Yes, I did a lot of drinking, a great deal, a very great deal indeed, Michael, yes.
You were an
You
alcoholic?
can safely say yes. I did do a very great deal.
And how much at your peak, so to speak, how much were you drinking?
4 pints of gin a day.
4 pints of gin a day?
Yes.
I didn't know Graham was an alcoholic. Did you?
Yeah, why was that, do you think?
I think, well, I don't know, really, the answer to that. Deep inside, I think, actually, that I was insecure. I didn't really feel that I'd deserved the success that I'd achieved.
Yes, so you're going to say, how difficult was it?
Actually, once the decision had been made, once I decided to stop, it was easy, except for the 3 days of unpleasantness.
I'll get on with it.
Graham, are you all right? You look a bit pale. Would you like a cup of tea and maybe a bit of toast? With a nice poached egg on top?
No, I'll just leave moment later. But I'll get up, be fine.
Vichy water?
No, yes. David, curtains.
Sorry.
Introducing, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, all the way from a mud wrestling tour of the OPEC countries, in the red corner, Colin Bomber Harris. And ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, Colin Bomber Harris.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time that Colin Bomber Harris has met himself. A few formalities now, any moment round. We'll be ready. Come on, one. There goes the rope. He just made it to the rope. Colin moves to the middle of the ring there. He's looking for an opening, going for the handhold. He's got it into the head squeeze. Favourite move of Colin's is in the open station. Flying man. Double overhead nostril. Should be able to twist out of this, and he does, but he's looking pretty groggy. He's a lovely move there. He's caught himself by surprise and well, a lovely move there. And Colin must be pretty pleased with himself for having caught himself out with that one. Strawberry whip. Vanilla whip. Chocolate whip. Colin's most famous whip. There it is. He just a little lucky there. Double Edie Gourmet. There it is. Colin's most famous hold. The one-leg over-shoulder Jerry Ford. I think he's caught himself there with two forearm smashes. And Colin's in real trouble. And Colin did not like that one little bit. Forearm. Double overhead back kick. And Colin must be pretty pleased with himself. He's a lovely move there. He's caught himself by surprise. Well, a lovely move there. And into the crayfish. No, it's a crawfish. And Colin bit himself on purpose there. And he has been given a public warning by the referee.
Bastard, you've got no arms left.
He's looking pretty groggy. Then that is it. Colin Bomber Harris has knocked himself out. And so he is the winner. And he goes on next week to meet himself in the final.
Graham, you're an alcoholic.
Yes.
Do you want not to be?
Yes.
Right. We'll start the treatment. Your liver function tests are appalling. 10 times over the acceptable norm of the gamma GTP, for instance. But there's no sign of enlargement. And with a bit of luck, there's a chance that you may not have damaged your liver permanently. We'll phase out the heminevrin and Valium gradually. And you can take an Abstem tablet in the morning and one in the evening, so that if you drink any alcohol, you'll feel as ill as you were 5 days ago. It's up to you whether you drink or not. It's your liver. It's your life.
Oh dear, Puss, London is far behind us. What shall we do now?
Meow.
What's that? Sing a song?
Meow.
What now? For all the children?
Meow.
Shall we sing a song, children?
Yeah.
Of all the organs the body contains, the liver's the one for me. It processes food, it deals with the waste, it's cleverer than a knee. When it throws up its hands at alcohol and makes you extremely ill, it's best to take heed, you're not being a weed, you're just being sensible.
You've only got 2 stations.
I bought marrowbone from you last time you landed on Graham's Hotel in the Old Kent Road.
I'll give you the waterworks.
I don't want it. Perhaps Graham does. Graham, do you want the waterworks?
No, I'll buy the camelopard.
What?
It's a camel that looks like a leopard. A giraffe.
He's going again.
Those church bells ring. It's Christmas in heaven. Snow falls from the sky.
Do you know, last time I was in Paris, I really did ring Jean-Paul Sartre, and Simone de Beauvoir answered the phone and said that he was out distributing leaflets. Or was that a sketch?
It's Christmas in heaven. There's great films on TV.
Do I talk here?
No, Graham, that's the table lamp.
Oh, right.
The microphone's on your right.
Right. Good.
Take 59.
You bastards, we've been planning this for months. What tough titty for you, fish face. Oh,
The raid backfires. Brian is captured and all the rest are killed. Brian, beaten, bruised and bleeding, is thrown into Pilot's darkest, stinking dungeon.
It's marvellous. Let's move on.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
Brian is on the run from the Romans and, to avoid capture, pretends to be a lobster.
Sorry, Graham, to stop you. We had a rogue lobster in there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doc. Are you ready?
Brian Taylor, take 60.
Brian is on the run from the Romans and, to avoid lobster, captures...
Sorry, we should have a colony of lobsters in there, Graham.
Well, all right.
Take 61.
Brian is on the run from the Romans and, to avoid capture, pretends to Start again, sorry.
Okay, we'll
sorry,
leave the
Andre.
let's move on.
It's certainly clean.
Persecute! Kill the heretic!
Brian seizes the opportunity to escape from the crowd and goes home with Judith. Alone together at last, the two rush naked at each other and meet in a frenzy of darting tongues, grabbing her...
That bit's been cut.
Is it?
Yes, all of it, I'm afraid.
Well, even this bit here?
Yes, the boys love the lobster idea, so they're going to reshoot that bit.
Oh, I know.
Okay, next bit, Graham, please. Take 62.
You fucking nicked me, old beauty!
Brian is arrested and taken before Pilate, where he is sentenced to be crucified.
Could we try one a little lighter, please?
Brian is arrested and taken before Pilate. He is sentenced to be crucified.
Yes, I think that's a little too light.
Well, what should I try?
No problem, we'll use the take before. Thanks, Graham, we'll be able to make all that work. Thanks for coming in.
That's it, is it? I mean, that really is it?
Yes, that's definitely it, if you want to collect your £30 on the way out.
Yeah, £30. Yes, well, I was led to believe that probably it might be a little,
Yes, look, it's not a big budget movie, you know. I'll tell you what, we'll have a whip round and see what loose change we've got, and we should be able to give you another £2.
Ah, yes. All right, yes. Right.
Will you please welcome hard-working mother of one, Graham Chapman.
His mother's little baby.
How beautifully you are clad.
And so are you.
You're still Butch, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Even though you go about telling people who haven't asked that you're gay.
Yes.
Oh, no! Ah! Graham, please don't tell your father. It'll kill him.
It won't kill him. Of course it won't kill him.
It will. It'll kill him.
Of course it won't. Shut up.
Never mind. Let's go on to your manifesto. You said that you would like to state quite clearly that sex is nothing more than a way in which two or more people can have lots of harmless, cheap fun, provided that they are clean and that the aim is not reproduction.
Yes.
Look, Graham, your mother's told me why she's upset. Don't worry about it. If you want to go around talking about this stuff, it's fine. She just doesn't understand these things.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 2 years later, and we'll be shortly arriving at Los Angeles Airport. Would you please extinguish all cigarettes and fasten your safety belts? Señores y señores, say por favor extinguir todos cigarrillos y fiance su cinturón de seguridad. Mesdames et messieurs, vos voyez encendrer two cigarettes et attacher vos ceintures.
visitor place. Come on, open the door.
Hello, Starlight Emergency 24-hour luxury door opening service. Opening doors to the stars.
Yes, we need someone here straight away to open our door. It's account number 2248.
Hi!
Thank you, thank you. Now, grit the teeth and whet the microtome. If tea party there be, let cucumber be slivered to the thinnest with precision and pressed twixt finest slices of good bread. Bravo, bravo!
Graham, isn't that George Lazenby over there, seen enjoying a can of specially imported Foster's lager?
What? You mean behind Christopher Isherwood and Georgia Brown, seen there enjoying a joke with Ian Lafreniere?
Yes, between Peter Cook, Dudley Moore, Bo Diddley and the piano, all seen enjoying a brief rest in a tight schedule.
Sylvia Costello seemed really big in June.
And who's that? With the Hollywood psychiatrist Dr. Stuart Lerner.
It could be either Jane Seymour, Jenny Agutter, Susan George, Shelley Duvall or Victor Borger.
Victor Borger?
Sorry, did I say Victor Borger? Only I also thought I caught sight of Victor Borger enjoying a quiet word with Charlton Chuck Heston and screenwriter companion Alan Katz.
Yes, but who's the girl with Stuart Lerner?
Ah, that's Sylvia Christel.
Good God!
Graham, you realize that in the last few minutes alone you've dropped no less than 17 famous names?
Have I? I didn't intend to. It's just that I happen to know these people. They're friends of mine. They live here.
I want you to repeat what you just said to yourself and think about it as a medical man.
You mean I've got...
Yes, Nivenism. It's a common enough complication of vangellitis. It's an endemic autobiographical complaint whereby people live vicariously through the fame of other people.
Ah. It was, coincidentally, David Frost's 40th birthday party, his third that afternoon, and I'd promised to try and look in for a moment or two.
Super! Super, super, super! Really super!
Happy birthday, dear David Frost.
Super!
We think you're swell. You've achieved so much and done so well that everybody here agrees you deserve more OBEs. And that was the message that was...
Super, super, super! Super! Super!
On the way out, I consoled an agitated Rod Stewart, who unfortunately had to come to the party in person. He'd only got married that morning, and the blow-ups of the happy couple could not be processed in time.
Hello, Graham. What are you on?
Would you all like to come to a party at my place later on?
I think I'm already at one.
George said he'd try and drop by, and I know Harry and Richard are going to be there.
Can I bring Nick and Ronnie?
All right, see you later.
And Pete and Ringo?
Sure, okay, see you later. I'm just going to nip off down through Boys Town on the way back. I want to pick up some Zoom.
I bet that's not all.
Graham, you must face up to this name-dropping problem.
What should I do, move to Finland?
You'll just have to sweat it out.
Isn't there anything I can do to speed up my recovery?
There is, but it isn't going to be pleasant, I'm afraid. Revulsion therapy. I'm going to prescribe an intensive course of Hollywood parties for you. It's your only hope.
Hello, Graham.
Is that young lady all right over there, Graham?
It's working, Graham. Stick with it. Good evening, Mr. Chapman. I'm Jose. I'll be your star to bed tucker in her to the stars this evening.
Jolly good. I had slipped into a state of inertia. All further activity seemed pointless. I decided to have a farewell party. David made the cucumber sandwiches, and I slipped out in my beige spacesuit to see if the others would be prepared to pop along. I stepped out nimbly through the airlock and deftly percolated past Elton John's piano-shaped moon buggy. He was obviously entertaining David Bowie and Ken Liberace, so I passed on. I knew the next space vehicle was occupied for an at-home evening by David Hockney and Alan Bennett, comparing the size of their accents.
Custard cream, David?
Just a very weak Darjeeling, please, Alan.
So I didn't bother with them. Can you come to our party?
So, I'm a Karinder, and I have got to do the hovering.
Can you come to our party?
Sorry, Gray. Diary's absolutely chock-a-block.
Here lies Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Wilde, gone out for good. Can you come to our party?
There is a time in the affairs of Greaves which, taken at the clutch, leads on to brutalness. A man is not a wasp, nor Dusseldorf built in a day. Damon Runyon had a bunion, and for all they say, AI.
What's that supposed to mean?
My heart bakes, a drowsy numbness fills my jets. Let it be, let it be.
No, come on, Wilde. What does that mean?
It means, Your Majesty, it means...
Learn your lines. You had us waiting for hours.
I didn't think anyone noticed.
No, I suppose they didn't.
The end.
Graham Chapman, co-author of the parrot sketch, is no more. He has ceased to be. Bereft of life, he rests in peace. He's kicked the bucket, hopped the twig, bit the dust, snuffed it, breathed his last, and gone to meet the great head of light entertainment in the sky. And I guess that we're all thinking how sad it is that a man of such talent, of such capability for kindness of such unusual intelligence should now so suddenly be spirited away at the age of only 48, before he'd achieved many of the things of which he was capable, and before he'd had enough fun. Well, I feel that I should say nonsense. Good riddance to him, the freeloading bastard. I hope he's fried. And the reason I feel I should say this is he would never forgive me if I didn't, if I threw away this glorious opportunity to shock you all on his behalf. Anything for him but mindless good taste.
Inflammation of the foreskin reminds me of your smile. I've had balanital chancroids for quite a little while. I gave my heart to NSU that lovely night in June. I ache for you, my darling, and I hope you'll get well soon. My penile warts, your herpes, my syphilitic sore, your manilial infection, how I miss you more and more. Your dobies itch my scrum books, our lovely gonorrhea. At least we both were lying when we said that we were clear. Our syphilitic kisses sealed the secret of our tryst. You gave me scrotal pustules with a quick flick of your wrist. Your trichomvaginitis sent shivers down my spine. I got snail tracks in my anus when your spirochetes met mine. Gonococcal urethritis, streptococcal balanitis, meningomyelitis, diplococcal cephalitis, epididymitis, interstitial keratitis, syphilitic choroiditis, and anterior uveitis, gonococcal urethritis, streptococcal balanitis, meningomyelitis, diplococcal cephalitis, epididymitis, interstitial keratitis, syphilitic choroiditis, and anterior uveitis.
Sit on my face and tell me that you love me. I'll sit on your face and tell you I love you too. I love to hear you order lies. When I'm between your thighs, you blow me away. Sit on my face and let my lips embrace you. I'll sit on your face and then I'll love you truly. Life can be fine if we all 69. If we sit on our faces in all sorts of places and play till we're blown away.
Ooh, terribly sorry.